and then he spoke about mathematics. So it was a subject which I was always scared of in school. I still am. The moment somebody told me about mathematics, what I would think is geometry, algebra, x is equal to y and all that kind of stuff, and I would say, oh my God, I don't want to talk about it. So he said, I'll teach you some things which will make your fear for mathematics go. So we all had some point of the time in our student lives, or even today. Today we don't even, there are a lot of people I meet from my corporate life, they don't even know how to use a calculator because abhi sab Excel sheet karta hai. So you don't have to think that much. When I met him, he told me, I said, exactly, I am looking for somebody like you who can write a book on making maths simpler. So he says making maths simpler is not a new phenomena. It's a very old phenomena. It's prevalent since the Vedic times. So I said, you write something on Vedic mathematics which will enable people to get rid of the phobia they have for maths. And after 7 to 8 months of toiling for the book, here we are today all gathered to unveil this beautiful book, and I'm sure it will benefit the future generations from young and old.
We have an exciting evening over here. Before I start, I would like to speak a little bit about what Indic Book Club and Indic Academy is. I think many of you over here might have seen the invitation. It said that it was being co-organized by Crossword and Indic Academy. Indic Academy started about 3 years ago. Initially, as a very informal group of people, as an informal group of people who are interested in books and in Indic history. As we started, we had, many of us who were involved in this group had read a little bit, knew that a lot of authors struggle in terms of being published or getting a platform to showcase their work. From there, the journey started so as to build a platform for authors. Then we realized that there were a lot of other aspects, a lot of other Indic knowledge systems that are not getting the kind of exposure that they should get. People are either fearful of it or have a lot of misinformation about history and Indic knowledge systems. We decided to develop platforms for it. So today, at the end of 3 years, I am very proud and excited to say that we are spread across the world. We have about 8 chapters in India, in Pune, Mumbai, Bangalore, Chennai, Coimbatore, Delhi, and I think Bhopal. 1 or 2 places I'm missing. And across in the US, we have 3 chapters of Indic Academy. We have a presence in London, we have a presence in Germany, we have a presence in Australia and New Zealand. So over the 3 years, we have spread. This is one beautiful thing about this group is that it's a completely voluntary group. And we are slowly developing different platforms for artists, for activists, and for authors to be able to showcase their work. So Indic Book Club is one of them, where we talk about books, where we are, just today what was launched was Indic Today, which will publish reviews of different books. On Twitter or on Facebook, if you follow the handle Indic Book Club or Indic Academy, for every week we give out 7 copies of a particular book that we feel should be read by people. And these books are selected by a whole set of academicians, researchers, activists, authors, writers. And we ask people to review the book. So 7 people who receive this book, the only condition, they receive it free of cost. The only condition from our side is that we request you to review it. Our idea is that we would develop this acumen to write, and then go on to develop authors from that system. Build the research-oriented system in that sense. We have another platform called as the Indic Activist. Under Indic Activist, we are looking to help and preserve Indic history, and Indic knowledge systems. In this, we are that it could be in terms of maybe helping a school. About 6 months ago, we helped a school in Tamil Nadu, which was struggling to remain open. We helped them get funds to build some of their infrastructure and pay the teacher salaries. We've helped a Vedic school to run its some workshops that they wanted to. So different ways that we're trying to nurture systems within India by taking help from all over the world. So that's a little bit about Indic Book Club. I had a very interesting, I've known Chandrahas probably for the past 4 years. I met him through a friend of my father's. Interestingly, he actually had come to visit my father because my father was suffering from cancer, and he had come to drop off this friend of my father. And we started talking, and his love for books and Indic history sort of formed the friendship with me. And then I introduced him to Indic Academy. So it's been a very exciting this for me to see in the past year for Chandrahas to start his journey in, for writing this book. When we talk about Vedic mathematics, you know, I don't know how many of you know, but in California, which is the state where a lot of the computing knowledge develops. Google is located, Apple is located, Microsoft is located over there. And I had read recently that in California, there are many schools which are doing away with electronic education systems, in the sense that they are not allowing children to be using iPads and other laptops or whatever to learn this. So at a time when we are typically becoming more dependent, even for basic calculations, when we go to the grocery store, if you want to see if the grocer has billed us correctly or not, we immediately flip open our phones and check the bill. So starting from there to actually, when we are looking to admit our children in school, we will say, oh, ये इसमें computer education भी करने वाले हैं, तो इसी में डालते हैं, ये इसका शायद school अच्छा नहीं है. That is our perspective or our this of looking at things. Partly probably because most of us don't like maths. I'm a civil engineer by profession, and I have to deal with maths every day. But it is equally true that if I had an option, I probably would not want to deal with it. So it is very interesting to see this book being published. I should say that we should be thankful to Crossword to taking this initiative and putting their money where many other publishers would not want to take that risk and put out a book which is more academic in some sense. So what I'd like to do is ask my first question to Chandrahas as to why do people run away from maths, and why does he think that he will help us not run away from maths?
Yeah, maybe I think so. The answer is the way mathematics is being taught in the lower standards. Especially, like say when you are in the first standard, you are made to cram multiplication tables. When you don't know what is addition, you are made to cram multiplication tables. And in my book, I've written that my biggest problem was like cramming multiplication tables. I was pretty good at mathematics, but my problem was cramming multiplication tables. And of course, when you kind of go into the higher standards, the way teachers teach mathematics is the problem. The subject is not the problem. The subject is the most fascinating of subjects, if it is taught rightly or in a very interesting manner.
So, multiplication tables reminds me, even I have done that. In fact, today my father would insist on his grandchildren also, have saying the multiplication tables by rote. You would not get food on in your plate if you didn't say them. So does this mean that we don't need to do it? And can you show us why we don't need to do it?
Yeah, I can maybe demonstrate something. And my two elder sisters are here, and they know that my father used to force me to kind of cram the multiplication tables, and I was not allowed to go out to play till I recite the tables. But then I always used to kind of find out tricks how to do multiplication. So I'll just like to say that there are a lot of Maharashtrians here, or Hindi speaking people, or rather in Indian languages. How do you 19? What is 19 in Marathi? It is ekonvis, or ekonvis. Or in Hindi, 29 is unattis. So what is ekonis? 1 less than 20. So if I want 19 times 4, so instead of trying to remember multiplication tables of 19, I would multiply 20 times 4 gives me 80. And 80 minus 4 gives me 76. So 19 times 4 is 76. So that is the thing that I have written in the first chapter of my book. So I used to make do without learning multiplication tables, because I realized that multiplication is nothing but repeated addition. And there are various ways of doing multiplication rather than learning multiplication tables by rote.
Is there any small, quick tricks that you can show us that we can?
Sure. Like a couple of years back, a friend of mine sent me a kind of a trick by which you can remember multiplication table of 1089. I said there's no need to remember multiplication tables of 1089, that is 1089. Now 1089 is 11 less than 1100 or 1100. So if I want, say, 1089 times 4, so I have to just say 1100 times 4 is 4400 minus 44. That gives me 1089 times 4. And that is, of course, I have written about it in my book. So chapter 1 shows you many methods of multiplication, and they are taken from Bhaskaracharya's Leelavati. The first chapter deals with some of the methods from Bhaskaracharya's Leelavati.
Is multiplication the only thing that is relevant to Vedic mathematics? Or there are others, so multiplication is more difficult, or this for the 5th or the 6th standard students? What is it? Are there any other things that are available for students who are in the 9th or the 10th?
There are sutras can be applied to higher mathematics also, but in my book I have dealt with for the beginners or school kids or for any general person. So of course my next wish would be to write a book on higher Vedic mathematics, but this book is limited to basic mathematics or for general public, general audience.
I can see over here that you've done some tricks with binomials and trinomials too. Do you think you can show us some of it?
Yeah, maybe I can. In my book, I have said that it is not just for Vedic mathematics. It is also to understand basic algebra. Now, maybe I can show something like generally everyone fears algebra. Most of the people, 90% people fear algebra. They find it to be a dragon that they have to fight. But maybe I can show something by which you can get an understanding about why and how we use algebra. So let me demonstrate something. This is especially for the kids over here. Now, let me tell you a small story. Of course, this is mentioned in the book. and the second chapter of the book. There was a young farmer, and he had a farm outside of his village. So he used to toil entire day in the farm. So he used to grow vegetables, fruits, and in the evening he used to go back to his home in the village. And when he used to return in the morning, he used to find that someone has kind of plucked away the vegetables, the fruits. Generally kids, they pluck away the fruits. So that was really, that farmer was really making losses, and he wanted to find a solution to it. So then one day he came up with an idea that if I built a small room in my farm itself, a small cottage in my farm itself, then I can guard my farm in the night. So he starts constructing a small room in the farm, and let us say he constructed the farm or a cottage in the farm having dimensions of say x feet by x feet. So naturally we know the area is x square feet. So now he was able to guard his farm. No one dared pluck the fruits or vegetables from his farm. And then after a few years, since he was prospering, he got married. And he needed one more room. So he added one more room to his cottage. Let us say it is of the dimensions A. This is AX. So now in school, of course, you must have learned that x into x plus A. So this is x plus A. And this is x. We get it, x square plus ax. So generally, children wonder, why do we have to deal with x square, y cube, x square y? What is the meaning of all this x, y and z? Do we really apply it in life? Yeah, this is one example. Now, few years down the line, kids are born. So one more room is added to the house. Okay, they need a playroom. Let us say this dimensions are dx. Now children grow up, like my niece here, and they started demanding that we need a study room to study. We can't study in your living room, or we can't study in your bedroom. We need a separate study room. Whether they study or not, they need a study room. So one more room was added. So the dimensions were AB. So now we can find that the dimensions are x plus A into x plus B. So you have a x square plus AX plus BX plus AB. So you have a x square here, AX here, a BX here, and a AB here. So now you can find that the equations and the expressions you deal with in algebra are having day-to-day applications, and even a general public or a housewife or a interior designer or an artist can use it. Till the time we are waiting for the other guest and before our chief guest gives a talk, let me have some fun with numbers session. Yeah, the guests have got the papers and pen. I would request you take any 3-digit number. Take any 3-digit number. Any 3-digit number. Only thing is, this number should be greater than this digit. Your first digit should be greater than the last digit. Take any 3-digit number. Your first digit has to be greater than the last digit. Like you can have a 413, but not 314. Okay? Yeah. So take any 3-digit number. then reverse it. If you have a 413, make it 31. Okay. Now subtract this reverse number from the original number. Subtract the reverse number from the original number.
I hope everyone's taken a simple number in their mind. Otherwise, it
The
will be a...
3-digit numbers are quite simple. And after this exercise, they will find it very interesting too. Okay, so let us say you get some number XYZ. Then again reverse it. Okay. The result, you get the result, again reverse it. And then add them up. Whatever result you get, after subtraction, you reverse the digits again. Then add them up. What is the answer you are getting? Everyone should get 1089. Now everyone has selected or chosen a different number, but always you are getting 1089. Why? Huh? Yeah, now I'll tell you something. Algebra is not only about finding x. Algebra is not only about finding x. It is also about understanding y. Rather, I would put it this way: algebra is not only about finding your x. It is also about understanding the y. And I have still not been able to find out why. Huh? I don't have X also. That's the thing. I'm still single. So, try it out again. Take a different number and try it out. Are you still getting 1089? Take a different number, try it out. Are you still getting 1089? Then we will go for another magic. The next number trick. Okay. I will show you a mathematical discovery by our Indian mathematician. He was Kaparikar. He is much very lesser known in India, but famous across the world. In 1975, world famous recreational mathematics author Martin Gardner wrote an article on Kaparikar, and world over Kaparikar became known. Indians still ignored him, but Japanese mathematicians took a fancy for Kaparikar's work. And of course, Kaparikar was a school teacher, and he was known as Ganitanand, a person who used to get pleasure doing mathematics. So let's do a magic that was discovered by Kaparikar. Any 4-digit number, take any 4-digit number. Only condition is that all the 4 digits should not be the same. Like you can have 1 1 1 3, but you can't have all 3s or all 1s. So take any 4-digit number. All the 4 digits can be different, or you should have at least 2 different digits in the 4-digit number. So let us say I will take 1 3 4 5, or any such number. So I will write it this way: 5 4 3 1, and then I will reverse the order: 1 3 4 5. Then subtract this, you can say ascending number from the descending number. Take any 4-digit number. then arrange it in descending order, arrange it in ascending order. Subtract the number which is in ascending order from the number in descending order. So you get the result. Let us say you get the result PQRS. Again do the same operation with this number. Again do the same operation with the result. Means arrange it in descending order, arrange it in ascending order and subtract it. Go on doing it. Repeat it some few times and see the wonder. See the magic. Yeah. Are you getting to see the wonder?
Ascending करो
Do it some few times.
You explain it again.
Okay, I'll do it. So give me any 4-digit number. Give me any 4-digit number. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So I am given the number 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll write 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. What if I subtract? So write 8730 and 0378. Again subtract it. Take any 4-digit number. It's not it's not that you have to take any specific number. You can take any 4-digit number. Pardon? Do it some 3-4 times or 5 times or 6 times. You will arrive at 6174 and it will remain so. Beat any 4-digit number. Yeah, anyone getting 6174? And that is Kaprekar's constant, and this is known as Kaprekar's operations. Yeah, anyone who got 6174? Yes, Dr. Pankaj Sahai. We have a mathematician amongst our midst, Dr. Pankaj Sahai. 6174. Huh? Getting it? So take any 4-digit number. You'll always get 617. So I will show you some trick in this Kaprekar's constant, and then we will move ahead in the program. If you take numbers like 1357 or 3579 or 2468 or so you will arrive at the result in just one step.
For this very momentous occasion, we have two very important guests with us. We have Professor K. Subramaniam, who is a professor in the Humanities Department in IIT Mumbai. He is an electrical engineer by and his graduation, but his inquisitive nature and this to study Indian mathematics and Indic studies or Indic histories and Indic this. He did his master's and his PhD in Sanskrit as well as in theoretical physics. And there are just various different things that he knows about mathematics. I had the good fortune to listen to him at the Indic Thought Festival that was held last year in Goa. And the 20-minute talk that he had, he could have, he's one of those few people when they talk of mathematics, it doesn't get boring. Our mathematics teachers should probably all go and learn from him so that everybody else loves mathematics. I would like to ask him to speak a little bit about the misconceptions of Vedic mathematics. When we say Vedic mathematics, there is one side of the debate which says, well, everything was not invented or discovered by Indians. And then there is other side which says there's nothing called as Vedic mathematics. It's just something which has sort of developed in terms of, in a historical sense, little after the Vedic era. So I would request him to talk about this misconception about Vedic mathematics a little bit. Our other guest is Pallavi Joshi. I guess she's known to all of us through her body of work, right from a child to up till now. When I requested her to grace this event, she asked me, what am I to do at a mathematics thing? I don't know mathematics. And I said, this is precisely the reason why I would want you to be here, is because with me, even you can learn a little bit about mathematics. You missed out a little bit of fun, but I would like you to speak on what were your views on mathematics, and maybe Chandrahas will try and help you out with it. So first of all, I hand over the mic to Professor Ram Subramanian.
Namaste. I am delighted to be here in this evening for the launch of this book called Vedic Mathematics. And there is a subtitle here, Inside Out. So inside out essentially means the principles which are inside that have been unfolded out. So this is all essentially it means. What is the principle behind Vedic mathematics? In fact, so she wanted me to talk about this debate on Vedic mathematics which is going on, which I will touch upon a little bit. But then I will tell you in one sentence what Vedic mathematics is all about. We know a certain area called algebra. We know something called arithmetic. What is the difference between the two? Which standard are you in? 8th. So have you dealt with equations like he was showing x square plus 8y, etc.? So do they call it as algebra or arithmetic? Algebra. Why do they call it so? In fact, the terms which are employed to refer to these two disciplines in Indian mathematics is Vyakta Ganita, Avyakta Ganita. Vyakta means something which is evident to you. What is evident to you is the magnitude of the number. Understand? Vyakta means something which is evident to you. Avyakta means something which is not evident to you. So not evident essentially means you can assign any value to that. So he drew a square and then said, call it as x. This x can be 2, x can be 28, x can be 1089. So it can be anything, right? So this is avyakta, which means the magnitude is not something which is evident. These are the two terms which are used. So what Vedic mathematics is all about? In one sentence, if you were to say, it is essentially making use of algebraic principles to do arithmetic. Arithmetic is basically adding, multiplication, subtraction, etc. of quantities which are known. So unknown is what is algebra. The quantities are unknown. You can assign any value to the unknown. So you have, so as he was trying to demonstrate, so you will be able to see inside out, provided you understand the algebraic principles behind it. That is what has been done in this book. He has not dealt with all the sutras, but he has taken certain sutras, primarily Nikhilam Navataha Charamam Dashataha. In fact, I started So she was saying I did theoretical physics, etc., etc. All that I did, but then I started with this Vedic mathematics, and I was even trying to extend it to certain principles. First time my entry into this domain of Indian mathematics after my engineering and physics was with Vedic mathematics text. So in about 2-3 months I just did something, and then we tried to extend certain principles which were there in that book also. So that was in the early 90s, 1991 if I remember right. So this book, actually there are 4 things which I would like, 4 words in English, okay, which will be appealing to you. First is, it is fascinating. Doing mathematics, essentially it is algebra, is quite fascinating. There is nothing fascinating in trying to press some button and get some number. There is fascination provided you are able to do from your own mind without resorting to external device. That is where fascination is. Not in pressing button, which any device can do, any idiot can do, right? So here we are blessed with something which is remarkable, but unfortunately we have not trained itself to its potential. So there are 2 aspects to the brain. One is this analytic aspect, the other is something which is very important to develop, faculty of memory. So you are able to quickly pull out something. Essentially in computer all that it does is pulls out something from the memory, something which is stored, and it can be easily pulled out. For it to be pulled out, first it has to be stored. I will not completely agree with him, this cramming. See, in fact, our ability to keep things in mind is something which is unimaginable. When you are quite young, you just listen to 2 times and you will be able to repeat it. Even if you repeat 200 times, when you have crossed 40, 50, you will not be able to do that. So the capacity to retain things in our mind is something which is phenomenal. To pick up and retain is really phenomenal till you are almost 16. So in our tradition, not this 1 or 2 tables, 4000 sutras, 400 pages will be easily committed to memory by Vedic Pandits. Even that tradition still is alive, and we do that. So the analytic capacity is something which grows as we grow with. So this capacity has to be utilized, and in fact our tradition has been to make use of both these capacities. He was referring to this text Leelavati of Bhaskaracharya. Our entire tradition was primarily oral tradition. Today we have electronic gadgets to do things. In fact, he was saying, so she was saying that we flip our mobile to find out whether the calculation is all right or not. In fact, I distinctly remember almost 40 years before, when I used to go to a vegetable market, this vegetable vendor will be dealing with 5-6 people simultaneously, and each one will be purchasing 5-6 items. So some fellow will purchase half a kg, some fellow will purchase 300 grams, and to everybody, I mean, he will just say this is the amount. It is primarily to wonder at this. I used to go to this market and then purchase vegetables, even if my father said I will go. See, this was the fascination which I had. The point I am trying to say is, there is something which is really fascinating if you are able to deal with in a jiffy these numbers. So this is number 1. So he would not have gone to any school. So this is fascinating, number 1. Secondly, initially it may be a bit of challenge, but it is merely practice. In fact, he has beautifully said in conclusion, I wanted to read that sentence. So just conclusion is just 4 lines, but it is very meaningful, born out of his wisdom. He says, the master key to learning And mastering mathematics is practice, more practice, and lots more practice. That is all. This is the concluding line. This is not necessarily true for this or that. This is true for anything that you do in your life. Even if you want to, I keep wondering when these people are able to type so fast in their mobile. I mean, they are just able to type through 2 sentences within a few seconds. How are they able to do? Practice, more practice, lots more practice. You understand? So this practice can be with pen and pencil, pen and paper first, but it can be done with your brain. If it can be done with your brain, it just initially it will be a little challenging. In fact, Bhagavad Gita, Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grihyate. The question is, Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramathi balavadridham tasyaham nigraham manye vayoriva sudushkaram. This is the question that he poses, Arjuna. I find it extremely difficult to control my mind. How is it that I can do? It is like almost controlling the wind, which cannot be done. But the answer is, true, it is difficult, but it is not unachievable. It can be achieved by Abhyasa and Vairagya. Abhyasa is essentially practice, Vairagya is determination that I will be able to do. Okay? So these are 2 things which are essential. So it may be challenging, but you will be really enjoying. Okay? It's fascination and challenging, it may be. But then it will be enriching you. Enormous skills will be achieved by doing this. So you may not find one-to-one correspondence directly, but it has a certain indirect influence without your knowledge. So therefore, it is extremely important. So as children, you will be really able to enjoy, but it will be helping you because you develop this faculty. Okay? So this faculty which is to be developed at this school age. I would not say do this Vedic mathematics at a later age when you are 26, but when you are 6 you have to do. Okay? So you have to learn when you are young, and these skills. So this is one aspect which I want to definitely recommend this. So what he has done is, as a good teacher, in fact I can easily see when I flip through the book, so the amount of effort that has gone in trying to explain the principles is remarkable. There is a question which is being posed to Shankaracharya, Ko Guruhu? Okay? Ko Guruhu? Who is to be considered as a teacher? The answer that Shankara, there is a short text which is called Prashnottara Ratna Malika. Okay? Prashna Uttara Ratna Malika. Okay? So first he should have understood it thoroughly. In fact, I was discussing it with Professor Joshi when we were coming in the car from IIT. So he is involved in training people for Olympiad. So all that we need to do is, we should make people understand the principles. Once they are understood, one will really enjoy. So initially you have to make some efforts towards it. In fact, that is also nicely written in the preface by Chandrahas Halai. He says, if you learn only the methods, you will get stuck at some point. But if you learn the concepts, you can develop your own methods. You understand? So I have quoted the first sentence, I have quoted the last sentence, the entire book is covered, and this is what it is, in fact. Okay? So here, what one needs to do is, whatever one tries to learn, one has to understand the principles, but one is not expected to do it at the age of 6, at the age of 8, at the age of 10. So there the ability is different, and later when you grow, if you had used your brain to retain things at that stage, in fact, how long does it take for one to memorize 200 verses, particularly when you are young? In fact, there are people who had memorized hundreds of pages. So in fact, I myself come from the tradition, Vedic tradition. So we will just, they will say, we will repeat over, that is all. So 4000 sutras, our tradition. This, lastly, I have to address certain things. Sishya hitaya udyata satatam. The second aspect of Guru is Sishya hitaya udyataha satatam. What does it mean? Satatam means always. Udyataha means one who is ready. Okay? For what? Sishya hitaya. What does it mean? It means a teacher's job doesn't end by merely interacting with the student for a short while. But his job remains in trying to think, how can I make the student understand? That is how different methods evolve. So different countries, different locations, different intellectuals, different intellects. So there is nothing which is across, which is applicable across continents, across. So every individual is different, and therefore the relation between teacher and taught is extremely important. Shishya hitaya satatam udyataha. So how can Adi Shankara say? There are two aspects to it. One is in trying to teach him how he has to live. This is knowledge transaction is one aspect. The more important aspect is transmission of values. So this person should be constantly looking after him, because the student always watches him. It's not merely knowledge transfer which is important, but transmission of values which is important. And this teacher, by teaching properly, inculcates very important values in him. By conducting himself properly, he inculcates value in him which will be useful for him throughout the life. So these are certain things which we must understand, and that's what this Vedic mathematics, let me just clarify. So since she asked me to clarify that, of course I can speak on various things. Regarding this algebra, I went to an interesting conference. It is called International Conference on Mathematical Education, ICME. How many people gather? Almost 2000 plus from all over the world. And there, there were statements which were made that she was referring to this US, California. So they are trying to get away with the electronic devices because they have hit their heads, and then they are trying to, but we are not learning even after that. We are so crazy. And unfortunately, there is another thing which I must tell you. You as students should have some respect for teachers, should have respect for parents. ये कौन है मुझे बताने के लिए? So this cannot be made to surface their mind when they are 2 or 3 or 6 or 8. There is much to learn in life. Till the deathbed we keep learning in life. So experiences do matter, and when we are so young, when we do not have the capacity to relate things, keeps growing. That is why we seek for more experienced manager and so on. And so some today, I don't know, Chandrahas, okay. So as I saw his face, I am reminded of making one remark. His name has two parts, Chandra, Hasa, right? Hasa means smile, Chandra means moon. So he is keeping cool as well as has a smiling face. So it is very appropriate that there is no surprise that he is a good teacher. I can easily see the amount of effort that has gone, the thought process that has gone in trying to make this book available. See, I didn't read page by page, but I could easily see by flipping it through. So the pains that he has taken in trying to explain concepts is something which is commendable, and I really appreciate that. This final remark, of course, I wish that he comes up with more and more books. See, this is only one sutra. So regarding final remark which I am going to make about this Vedic mathematics is, the term Vedic has been questioned by a few people. If anybody questions the content of this, then he is an idiot. Okay, take it from me. Nobody can do that. The only thing is, with reference to the title which has been given to this volume, there has been some objections which have been raised, and people with certain ideological orientations, they try to take the stick and then keep on beating just because this title has been given. But once it is understood, there is nothing wrong. In fact, I think Chandrahas himself has made a very careful statement. I saw it somewhere, let me just tell you. This page number 21, see, page number 21, he has made a very careful statement. So he says, so after listing a few mathematicians, he says, he organized this vast knowledge in the Vedic tradition of sutras. Okay, he means, he refers to Bharati Krishna Tirtha. He organized this in the Vedic tradition of sutras. So you just need to understand a couple of things. Our tradition, as I told you, has been primarily oral tradition. Initially they started with sutra style of composition. Oh, you know some sutras, have you heard? Tell me. Some text which has name sutras? You don't know? What does sutra mean to you? Formula? So Hindi में formula के सूत्र बोलते हैं, right? Am I right? Anyway, so the sutra is a style of composition which was followed long back. If you take any of the ancient texts, Patanjali Sutra, Panini Sutra, Pingala Sutra, Brahma Sutra, Jaimini Sutra, everything was in sutra style of composition. There is a definition of sutra, I will not explain. It means essentially shortly representing something. Okay? So Panini Sutra is just 4,000 in number. You take any grammarian, they would have memorized all the 4,000 sutras. So this is how it is. So sutra, this is written in that ancient style, and therefore one can call it as Vedic in that sense. Okay? So he himself essentially calls it as a revelation to him. It's not that he wanted to do some marketing as we do today. Okay? So of course Vedic can mean some marketing for some people, primarily in US, etc. So if you say Vedic is a big market, so that is a different thing. So it is not for that. It is this style of composition which is very ancient, and therefore one can call it to be Vedic in that sense. Okay? And Vedic doesn't really mean, in fact there are various things. This is when we say Vedic culture. So it is not something which was then prevalent, we don't even know. So some 5,000 years ago. So Indian culture is Vedic culture, suppose you say. So it originated from that. It doesn't mean that it is directly connected today. There are various other things which evolve over a period of time, and this is how it is. And as far as the text is concerned, it is extremely useful, and it will provide very good training for people to use their memory to full capacity. So there is enormous joy, it is fascinating, it is challenging, it is exciting, but it will be definitely enriching you. This much I can tell you. And with these few remarks, I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to be in this function, book launching function of a very important text. Thank you very much.
As Dr. Yogini in the beginning said, my first question to her was, why me at a Vedic mathematics book launch? The thing is that my relationship with the Indic Book Club goes back a long way. And with our trust and with their foundation, we've done a lot of events together. So when I first got a call from Yogini, I said, oh, certainly I would be, I would love to be a part of this. Chandrahas has written a book, of course I will be there. And I said, why don't you send me the book? So I'll read through, so I'll be able to speak a few words at the opening. It was only when I got the book in my hand that I realized it's all about mathematics. And I said, what am I supposed to do? There are some people have some failed relationships in their life. I've had one such with mathematics. And I had got completely badgered when I was in school. There was no end in sight. Finally, when I reached grade 10, I said, this is my out, and after that, I decided not to look back at mathematics at all. But the world is round, and, things come back to bite you. And it happened when, I had my children. So my husband obviously, was very busy, or he pretended to be too busy. And then it was the mother's job to sit down and, get the homework done. And what do I do now? So I think my children were intelligent enough to understand that our mother has got nothing to do with maths, so they kind of coped on their own. Usually when I go out for my work or, attend any such functions, I'm always, I just leave home and I say I'm going to be back at so and so time. Today my daughter has accompanied me because she wanted to know what I'm going to talk about mathematics. I think she was just here, she's probably, gone looking for some books. So I still remember there is a little incident which I want to tell the three of you. When I was in primary school, there was this teacher that we had, a maths teacher. He never smiled, first of all. And for some reason, his hair was like all white, and he had what was back then known as a crew cut, which is like little spikes just poking out of his scalp. And he looked positively sinister in that hairstyle. So he would come to the class once a week. And those were the days when we used to get caned, for giving a wrong answer. So he would come to us and randomly just ask us about tables, and he would go like, 16 threes are. Now there is a certain time that a person needs to understand the question, process it in your mind, and then give the reply. So even the best of the students who would get like 100 on 100 in mathematics used to get caned because their mind just wouldn't process as fast. So I'll tell you the timing, So he would come to one person and one little kid and go like, 18 threes are. Fadak. 17 fours are. Fadak. 15 eights are. Fadak. Now it was so frustrating for us because we used to keep wondering, which table is going to come our way, and then how long do we have to actually understand the question and give the right answer. So I used to get completely stressed every time, this sir came to our class. So finally I decided to just, take it easy, lower my stress a little bit. As it is maar to padni hai, to dimag kyun chalao? So I just used to extend my hand and, just get caned. So this sir realized what I'm doing. So one day he came to me and he just asked me, 2 twos are, and I just put my hand out. And when as I saw that ruler coming down, I suddenly said, 4! He said, too late. And then I got the beating again. So I think these are certain incidents which probably triggered the, fear of math in me. And that's why I kind of went on and, chose acting as my profession or whatever. You had a wonderful grandmother who gave you all the, wonderful tips about mathematics. My grandmother taught me acting, so because she was an actor herself. But I wish I had this book when I was in school, because when I got the book, I read the first chapter. And believe you me, after all these years in my life, for the first time, I actually sat down with a pen and paper and I tried to solve some sums. And as I was thinking and hearing Professor speak, I realized that everything that you said about the principles of mathematics actually apply a lot to my profession as well, about the Vyakta and Avyakta. We could be, applying the same principles for the characterizations that we do. And also the memory bank that you spoke about. When we are faced with emotional scenes, we do have to dig into our memory bank and try to find out what had hurt us the most or angered us the most or made us really happy to get that emotion out. So I think somewhere the principles of math apply to everyday life and every profession, only we don't have to sit down with the addition and subtraction. So I have read the first 3 chapters, but I'm going to read the book through and through, and I may call you and harass you time and again because I know I'm going to have a lot of questions. So congratulations on the launch of the book, and wonderful being here. I'm sorry I can't talk anything about mathematics because that is not my subject. But as a parent, I would definitely ask you to buy this book because it appears so simple. And if you really want to help your children or your grandchildren, I'm sure I'm going to help my grandchildren after reading this book, even if I couldn't help my kids. So please pick up this book. It makes it appear so simple. And as I was sitting there with that pen and paper in my hand, I actually for the first time felt maths is not so bad. So congratulations on this book, and thank you very much. It was wonderful being here.
We have this phrase of reading a book. There is nothing which is to be read as far as this text is concerned. Mathematics is working with pencil and paper, and best thing will be not even pencil and paper, dimag ka use. That is all. Every calculation can be done in mind, and it is just a matter of training. Let me just tell you, you should start doing things, then things will follow. So it is simply a matter. So when I see somebody doing this gymnastic, so he will do some 5 somersaults and then he will come down. Can you imagine doing? Can I imagine doing? How does it happen? Sheer practice. So this is something which will be really fascinating and you have to do. So regarding her statement that I have nothing to do with mathematics, in fact, let me just tell you, there is nothing in this universe which can be done without mathematics. So mathematics is basically calculation. So when she has to do at this second, at this fraction, I have to do this. So this is all calculation, whether it is cooking, whether it is acting, whether it is poetry, whether it is anything you name. In fact, he has referred to, I think somewhere, you have used this word, Ganita Sara Sangraha, right? So Ganita Sara Sangraha, Mahaviracharya, palindrome numbers. That is on the cover of the book also. Yeah, in fact, this is something which is essentially that. Somewhere I think I have noted down some page number also. So you should just see that. 143 page number. Which means I have flipped through the book. Okay. So this Mahaviracharya was a brilliant mathematician who belonged to this Jaina tradition. He has written a book called Ganita Sara Sangraha. So Sara is essence, Sangraha, I am presenting in short the essence of mathematics. That is the title of the book. In fact, I just wanted to say one verse in that. Right at the beginning, in order to motivate that, he starts with saying, Laukike Vaidike Chapi Tatha Samayike Piyaha Vyaparastattra Sarvatra Sankhyanam Upayujyate. Sankhyanam is essentially counting, calculating. Okay? So without calculating you cannot drive, without calculating you cannot cook, without calculating you cannot act, without calculating you cannot smile, you cannot do anything in fact. So that's what he says. Laukika is something which has to do with the worldly transaction. Vaidika is something which you have to do with the spiritual activities. Samayika is something which has to do with the social activities. When Narendra Modi makes a speech, I mean, he needs to know what is the audience, what kind of thing I should have to say. Whether it is politician, whether it is economist, whether it is... So this doing multiplication, division is only one aspect of calculation. So calculation is what essentially Ganitam is all about. So calculating in various things, various aspects. So even when he does the somersault, there has to be intuitively you do certain things without knowing. So लौकिके वैदिके चापि तथा सामयिकेपि यः व्यापारः, व्यापारः means transaction, तत्र संख्यानम् उपयुज्यते. See here in fact there is an Arthashastra expert sitting at the back. संख्यानम् उपयुज्यते. See, calculation is involved. So we met almost 15-20 years back in Delhi. So Sankhyanam Upayujyate, this mathematics is used. Having said, he lists about 20 things, whether it is Supa Shastra, whether it is Kama Shastra, whether it is Artha Shastra, whatever be the Shastra, okay, whether it is love making, whether it is cooking, whether it is this, that, etc. He lists some 20 things and then he finally says, Bahubhir Vipralapaih Kim Trailokye Sacharachare Yetkinchid Vastu Tatsarvam Ganitena Vina Nahi. Bahubhir Vipralapeh Kim. What is the point in lamenting and listing various things? Trailokye Sacharachare. In all the three worlds, you cannot think of a thing without mathematics. Okay? Yetkinchid Vastu Tat Sarvam Ganitena Vina Nahi. Okay? So therefore, this is primarily to motivate people to get into mathematics. So that is the initial verses with which he commences. These are beautiful verses. After Sutra, we had this poetical style of presenting mathematics. So this tradition is lost. It has to be revived. Vedic mathematics is one aspect. This is at school level, primary school level. At secondary and college levels, you need to do Indian mathematics, which is profound. And its methodology is completely different, which we have forgotten. We need to revive that. Thank you very much.
I think Crossword will definitely think on what the professor has said in terms of having more books on this subject, and looking at the crowd and the sales, you probably will get motivated to have more on this subject too. I would request our chief guest of honor to launch the book.
I'm so happy that it has been done in eco-friendly way, as far as possible.
We will re-see the videos and we will try to understand it even more. And it was very beautiful what you spoke. Thank you so much for taking time out and braving the Mumbai traffic and coming here all the way from Powai. We thank you, Pallavi ji, that you took time out of your shooting schedule and you could come here and give your thought on the book. And Chandrahas ji, I would like to tell you that the book Vedic Mathematics, it's already on the number 10 bestseller list of non-fiction for Crossword. So we have this weekly bestseller list. So for this week, the list just came out on email. I was checking over there and I checked, it's already on number 10. So I'm sure that it will climb up the ladder and be on number 1 very soon. So wishing you all the best. And there's a small token of appreciation for our guest over here. And a very big thank to Indic Book Academy and the Indic Book Club for organizing such an intelligent audience what we have over here, right from best-selling authors to doctors, to people who are actually quality people who understand what's happening over here. And so many known faces I know over here. We have Vineet, we have Dr. Radhakrishna Pillai, and all are stars in their own genre what they write. So there is a small token of appreciation. I would like to start with Yogini ji, who represents the Indic Book Club. It's again a book published by us and a very apt to give Indic Book Club.
One second, hold on.
And there's no book launch which does not end with a book signing by the author. So Chandrahas ji will be there on the stage. If anybody still has to get their book signed, please queue up and he'll be signing the books. You are even allowed to take selfies.
My brother is there to click pictures with this large format camera.
On behalf of the Indic Academy and Indic Book Club, I thank everybody for being here. I request Professor Radhakrishna Pillai, who is one of our leading academicians and a leading member of the Indic Academy. We've held many lecture series of his in US and in India. For those who are here, we are having a very interesting Teen Fest, Indic Teen Fest coming up in June. I would request you to look up on Indic today. In about a week's time, you will see the announcement. But the Indic Teen Fest website is also up, indicteenfest.com. You can go and look up. If you have children, grandchildren who are in the age group of about 12 to 16, they would be very much interested in, you would be very much interested in enrolling this for them. This is a 3-day event that we are holding in Delhi. Chandrahas Halai is one of the speakers over there. Professor Radhakrishna Pillai is there. Amish is going to be speaking. Hindol Sen Gupta is going to be speaking. We have a very prominent chess guru of India. And when I say chess guru, literally he is engaging and nurturing a lot of chess masters, little masters from Chennai, Mr. Ramesh. So a lot of interesting people who are going to be holding workshops for teens. So please do go look it up and see if you would be interested in enrolling your children for it. I would like to request Professor Pillai to thank Professor Ram Subramaniam and Pallavi Joshi on Indic Academy's behalf. Thank you.
No, can I take a mic for a
Okay, this is Radhakrishna Pillai representing everything that you see, Crossword, Right Place, and also of course Indic Academy and the academic fraternity. I like to tell that I'm very proud to be associated #1 with Crossword, because all your bestseller has to be here, right? This is India's #1 bookshop. Secondly, Right Place, because the right place to write. Anybody who's interested in actually writing books, that's where Anupa and the whole team comes in. But what is very important is we academicians actually do a lot of scholarly work. But to bring it out to the masses, what Sir has done is amazingly important. But I'd like to lastly say what Yogini ma'am rightly pointed out, that please join Indic Club. She just mentioned in 2 lines the kind of work that's happening, you know, right from doing workshops to, and it's not just a small body, it's an international body spread across so many countries. I just want to tell that, you know, become part of any team, be it the academic team or the scholarly team or the writing team. But for all those people who have come here for the first time, please make sure it is not the last time. Welcome to the club called the Book World and the Book Industry. Thank you so much.